LeetCode episode. Today we're going to be solving set matrix zeros, which is a medium problem. Given an m times n integer matrix, if an element is 0, set its entire row and column to zeros. Do it in place. So pretty straightforward. You have a 0 in the middle, and the row and the column of that specific 0 needs to be set to 0. So in the case of this one, row and column, so it becomes like this. So let's go ahead and look at our Blackboard. So the intuition is basically, well, first we got to talk about constraints. One is if it's empty, we don't return anything, right? So we do it in place. And then the time constraint is going to be O of n squared. And the space is also going to be O of n for the worst case. So my approach, there's different ways to approach this, but my approach is to track the zeros and then utilizing where the 0 is, you go ahead and set row and column to 0. So it literally is like it's going to go through, it's going to iterate through the array, like that. And then it's going to have the 0, this track array, let's say, is going to be, this is 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So it's going to be 1, 1, right? Through this 1, 1, I just want to do a for loop of the columns and then set matrix, let's say this is going to be x and y. Matrix x to, let's say, like I. Matrix I and y to 0. And we're going to do this in the loop. So that's sort of the intuition, is basically 1 is track the zeros, and then 2, utilizing a loop, set the row and column to 0, right? So that's the basic idea, and let's go ahead and code that out. So set zeros is going to have, we're going to want to keep track of just matrix.length, and then matrix 0.length, so the rows and columns. And then we're going to do a for loop. And another for loop. This for loop basically goes through, it gives us this. That's what it's doing. M is going to go to the right, and N is going to go to like down. So in here, we want to say if matrix I, J, we want to find the zeros, right? Is equal to 0. We want to do what? Let zeros, oh, my bin isn't working. I don't know why, but it's okay. Zeros dot push matrix I, J. So this basically collects the coordinates of our zeros. So in the case of this one here, it's gonna return 1, 1, right? And then with that piece of data, what we can do is we can do another loop y is less than zeros dot length. Basically go through all the zeros, and what do? We want to say x, y is going to be zeros I. So x is going to be 1, y is equal to 1 in this case that we're using this example, right? And for each of those, we're going to do another for loop that basically says that j equals to 0 and j is less than m, j plus plus. We're going to do something, and then here we're going to do something too, but j is less than m, right? So for let j is 0, j is less than m. M is going to be the rows. We're going to set matrix something to 0. From here, it's the same thing. And what do we want to set? We basically want to move m is going to be matrix.length, so it goes down, right? So in this case, in this one, we want to set this one. This is going to be what's going to remain consistent here. We want the 1 to be 0, 1, the column, to be y, and this to be I. Yeah. And then this is the opposite. It's going to be x, I. And that is it. Set column row to 0 where needed. Let's run it. Uh-oh. What does that say? Zeros is not iterable. Let x. So, okay. Let's just do this. X equals zeros, 0, and then let y equals zeros, 1. Oh, I got the wrong answer. And why is that? Oh, because this is not supposed to be I, it's supposed to be j. So let's try it again. Still the wrong answer. And I wonder why. Oh, it's because this guy, we need to push I and j. Duh. That's why this wasn't iterable. Let's try again. What is going on here? Matrix.length, matrix 0, I is j is less than n. 0's push ij. X is 0, y equals 0, j is less than m. Matrix jy. Undefined setting of 0. That looks right to me. What? Okay. So let's see what happens there. So let's console log x, y, zeros, I. Let's console log 0, 0, and zeros, 1. Oh, duh. It's because zeros I, it needs to be zeros I 0 and zeros I 1. So I could have wrote it like this. Zeros I 0, let y equals zeros I 1. That's what I need to do. But this does it, and this is the answer. Very straightforward. Let's submit it. 87%. Time is O of m times n. Space is O of m times n. Thanks.